I'm Carla Farina. I'm the owner of Eddys brand, and I focus on no new plastics and no new cotton. I use secondhand sweaters that are unraveled and reknit into this 3-piece set. I use recycled plastic for any kind of trim that might be necessary, like the buttons on some of the shoulders of the garments. And I am a business member of the New York City Fair Trade Coalition, Fair Trade 101. One of the issues that we have is nobody really knows what goes on before the made in China, made in Bangladesh, made in Dominican Republic, but the fashion supply chain is so much more complex than that. So our products are pieced together in a variety of countries. We need to consider at every step of the way the amount of energy, the amount of water, the amount of fuel and emissions to transport the items back and forth, as well as all of the people in each step of the way that are farming the product, carting the product, and turning it into the garments that we end up buying. And when you don't consider those costs, it's easy to think that $50 for a pair of jeans might be a fair price. Let's do some simple math here. For a pair of jeans that you would pay $50, half of that goes to marketing, retail, and other US operations. So we're left with approximately $8 for labor and transportation. So the factory gets $4 for a pair of jeans. So from that $4, it's divided even further to the people that actually have their hands on your garment. And that's not even something that would be fast fashion. It's your H&Ms, your Zara's. The challenges here are not just the amount of waste that is CO2, pesticides, and toxic things that are going into the earth, but also the inequality and the depletion of resources. Another huge issue is the human trafficking. Sometimes it's children that are handed over to the traffickers from their parents with the hope that they will have a good job with a good salary and a good place to live. And sadly, that is not what ends up happening. We even see this in 2020 in the US with protests against sweatshop-like factories in Los Angeles. But what can we do about all these problems? Sustainability is the focus on meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their needs. And we know them very well as the 3 pillars: people, planet, profit, the 10 fair trade principles. Number 9 is what we're doing today. We're promoting fair trade. We're talking about it. For me, the number 1 most important is 2. It's transparency and accountability. So I pulled a few examples here. It's actually 3 businesses that are doing something along the lines of sustainability and fair trade. The first one is Everlane. I think what they're doing in terms of their transparency for their manufacturing is really interesting. They clearly point out where their materials are, their labor, their transport, all of those fees. But what is missing here? Info is not quite clear. I think they say 100% cotton, but they don't necessarily specify if it's an organic cotton. There are really no fair trade certification anywhere. The wage info on their employees is missing. I like to refer this as selective transparency. There's Obey. They have a selection of fair trade products, which is really easy to find on their website. And they talk here very clearly about the fair trade premium and empowering the factory workers and fighting poverty. And they actually have fair trade certifications. The other one is Madewell. What they do is they put the fund directly for the workers, and the fair trade premiums range from 0.5% to 2% of the cost of the product. So let's take another look at a pair of Madewell jeans. So that's a lot more to go around for the factory owners, the managers, the workers, really for everyone that gets split up to. The premium that goes directly to the community fund is paid on top of that $11.25. And typically it's used by the community for things that they need, whether it be schools, roads, irrigation. The point is to let people remain in their community and build a life there for generations. $135 versus $50 or $20 if you're buying fast fashion. I know it's a lot, but consider the longevity of the items that you're purchasing. Of course, consider the benefits to those who actually made the garments. And you're casting a vote and taking a stance with each purchase that you make. You are telling the global economy that we do not support slave labor, that we do not support the exploitation of women and children. And this is the fair trade revolution. I'm sure some of you have already heard about the Make Manhattan Fair campaign that we have going on. So one of our other committees, we're focused on canvassing Manhattan, finding those fair trade businesses, and educating just the masses about fair trade and how important it is to vote with your dollars. If you're not a member, find us nycftc.com, and remember to follow me at Eddys Brand on Instagram.